Okay, good morning, Year 9. Miss Billen has been extremely helpful and she's helped me to find a way to share my screen with you. So it's going to be just like you're in a lesson in B30 with me talking to you and going through some things on the board and giving you instructions. So I hope it kind of makes you feel a little bit different, like you're in school, and you're actually having like a real proper lesson like you would usually have. So I'm really grateful, and I think this is an excellent thing for us to be able to do. So what I'd like you to do first of all, Year 9, is I'd like you to write your date, your title, and classwork, and underline those three things for me, please. And if you've got your book, then you can draw a margin. If not, and you're doing your work on your paper, just make sure you're keeping them all in one place so that when it comes to coming back to school, you've got everything that you've done over the last couple of, well, I think it'll be months by the time we get back to school. So yeah, you'll have quite a good collection of maths work to bring and show me. So, shall we crack on? So once you've written those things down, you can always pause the video at any point just to help yourself catch up a little bit. I'm actually going to take you through a little My Maths lesson because I found one and I thought it was absolutely excellent. So let's have a look at this. So there are some fractions that you will need to know off by heart what they are as decimals. These ones, so 0, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and all of those, you need to know what they are as decimals. So let's have a look at the equivalent decimal line. So we've got the fractions from 0 to 1 split into 10, so 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. I want you to think about, before I reveal it, what do you think would go on this decimal line here? What kind of decimals do you think would go there? So we know that 0 and 0 are equal to each other. 1/10 and something are going to be equal to each other. 2/10 and something are going to be equal to each other. And I'm just going to show you what they are. And you probably know this already. So we've got 1/10 is equal to 0.1. 2/10 is equal to 0.2. 3/10 is equal to 0.3. 4/10 is equal to 0.4, and so on, right until we get up to number 1. But we could continue. We could have something like 11/10 is equal to 1.1. 12/10 is equal to 1.2, and so on. We could keep going forever and ever and ever, but what would be the point of that? So these are all decimals that you need to know as fractions. They're all really important, and you probably knew some of them already. Let's have a look at the next lot that we need to know. So we've got a number line from 0 to 1. It's split into quarters. We've got 0, a quarter, a half, 3/4, and 1. Let's have a look at what we think would go there. Now I know that some of you definitely know what decimals go with a quarter and with a half. So let's have a look at them, shall we? We've got a quarter is equal to 0.25. A half is equal to 0.5. 3/4 is equal to 0.75. Again, these are ones that you need to know off by heart. It probably would be useful for you to be making some notes whilst we're doing this, just, on anything that you think is important and anything that you didn't know already that you need to write down. Okay, you don't need to draw a number line or anything. You could just say something as simple as a quarter is equal to 0.25. You could just write that down. A half equals 0.5, and so on. Let's have a look at the next one. So here we've got something called fifths. That means from 0 to 1 was split into 5 equal pieces. Now I want you to think about if we had 0 to 10 and we split it into 5, how big each bit would be. So 0 to 10, you would have 5 equal bits of 2. And that's actually technically what you have here. you have 0.2, 0.4, 0.6 and 0.8. Can you see how they're going up with a 0.2 each time? Well, that's actually what's happening here as well. They're actually going up by 0.2, even though their numbers are only going up by 0.1. Not 0.1, they're only going up by 1. There's actually a gap of 0.2 between them. Now, I'm guessing that some of you don't know these off by heart, so I'll tell you now. I want you to write those fractions down, and I want you to write what they're equal to next to them, please. Pause this video and do that now. Okay. So, what I'd like you to do now is I want you to have a think about what each of these fractions would be if you are matching them up with the same value. So, let's have a look and see if we can match up the fractions to the decimals. Now, let's have a look at 7/10. Well, I know from my number line back there that I know that that's got to be 0.7. And yes, there is a 0.7. So let's drag that and see if I can match that up. Are they going to drag? No, they're not going to do it for me today. That's fine. Doesn't matter really. So 7/10 and 0.7. Oh, I just have to click them, not drag them. Right, okay, lovely. So they're matched up together, perfect. Let's have a look at the next fraction. So we've got 3/5. Now we just looked at that number line now, and you should have written that down. So you should know that 3/5 is equal to 0.6. There we go, those two match perfectly. 3/4, 0.75. We should know that already. 4/5 from the not from the number line, from those numbers you just wrote down on the side before. No, it's 0.8. 1/10 we know is 0.1. 1/5 we know is 0.2. 3/10 is 0.3, and 1/4 is 0.25. So we got them all. Look at us, we're fantastic people. You could go on to My Maths and have a go at this again if you want to, by yourself. But if not, we can just continue doing this. So this is really important. How do you think we could find 4/5 as a decimal if we didn't know it off by heart? Well, you see that divide line between the 4 and the 5? Obviously, that means divide. That fraction line means divide. So 4/5 means the same as 4 divided by 5. So you could get your calculator, type in 4 divided by 5. I'm doing it now, you can probably hear me. And you get 4/5 on your calculator. But if you pressed SD, you'd come up with 0.8. And we can put that in and see if that's right. Oh, yes, it's perfect. Lovely. Good. So if you're not sure, all you actually need to do is do the top number divided by the bottom number and press SD if you weren't sure about what the fraction was. So let's have a look at these. 1/5 as a fraction. Well, we should know that off by heart from what we've just written, so we can just write 0.2 in there. But 5/8, I don't know. I don't know what that is as a decimal. So I'm going to type in 5 divided by 8 into my calculator and press equals. Then I'm going to press SD. And I get this crazy decimal, 625. Let's have a go at the next one. 11/20. Well, I'm just going to type in 11 divided by 20. Press SD and I get 0.55. Number 4. 11/50, well, I'm just going to type in 11 divided by 50 equals SD and I get 0.22. And then last one here, 15 divided by 25 equals, press SD, it's 0.6. Let's see if we got those right. We did, of course we did, of course we did. So you can see actually if you don't know what they are automatically, you can just divide them and press SD and you'll find what they are as a decimal. So you can do exactly the same with things like this as well. 3 3/5. You can do that absolutely fine. If you just used your calculator and typed in the fraction. So you'd need to use Shift and then the fraction button, and then you could type in 3 3/5. If you pressed equals and then pressed SD, it will come up as 3.6. Okay, lots of things you can do on your calculator to help you with things like this. Well, we know 6.5 as well. We know that would be 6.5, don't we? Because we know that a half is 0.5. This one we know 7/10 is 0.7, so that's just going to be 7.7. 6 3/4, well, we know that that's going to be 6.75 because we know what 3/4 is, it's 0.75. And then 5 2/5, looking at what we just wrote down, 2/5 is equal to 0.4, so that's going to be 5.4. Let's have a look. All the suspense. Oh yes, lovely, we've got 5 out of 5, lovely. So, having done that lesson now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to look at these questions and I want you to write them down in your books and then calculate what the decimal would be. Now, some of them you'll know off by heart. Some of you will have to use your calculator with and do the division, okay? So things like 5/16, 3/16, you'll definitely need to use your calculator for those ones, okay? But you should see which ones you know automatically and which ones you don't. So 3/10 you should know now, 4/5 you should know now, 7/10 you should know now. The rest you might need to use your calculator for. And then once you've done that, you can look on the next page that I've attached on the Google Classroom and you can mark your work there. Now, please, as usual, do send me a picture of your work. I love seeing your work. It's one of the highlights of my days sitting at my computer here is seeing your lovely work. So please make sure you send me a picture via email or via the Google Classroom. I have to say, some of you are doing excellent work. I mean, Macy, Fiza, Sophie, Lily, you are all doing, fantastic things. And, I love seeing your work. So you four definitely deserve some praise there because you send me it pretty much on the same day. And it looks beautiful. So well done, you four. Please keep it up. Well, I miss you all. And I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if it was. I think it's a great thing. And I'm going to continue doing these because I actually find it quite fun as well. It's like I'm back in school again. So once you finish this, send me a picture and then have a lovely weekend. Okay, bye-bye.